The views and opinions expressed on this program do not reflect the company, owners, management, staff, clients, or partners.
It's Monday, the 3rd day of June 2024. Welcome to Bermuda's Daily Talk Show. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, Medical Walls, Lindos, and People's Pharmacy. I'm Jamal Hartman. He's Larry Marshall Jr. And Maya Palacio will be with us in a bit to bring you the latest in her news break brought to you by People's Pharmacy. Brother Burt, happy Monday.
Happy Monday. How are we?
Tired, but good, excited, and ready for a new week.
Yeah. I'm similar situation. Tired and ready to extend my week.
Yeah. Not everyone enjoys weekends the same, right? The weekends don't mean the same thing. Well, speaking of weekends, real quickly, I'm not trying to start anything by saying what I'm about to say. Let me just qualify what I'm about to say. I'm not trying to start anything.
I know you're good. Go ahead.
But if you've been in the know, you would know that St. George's League team dominated Somerset's League team yesterday. And what some are saying is, well, a sign of things to come.
Sorry, who's this some?
I mean, just a few people. Just a few people. Because, I mean, I agree with what the naysayers say. I agree that, obviously, Somerset needs outsiders to come and help them, keep our cup. So I just want to let it be known that St. George's had the moral victory yesterday in 50 overs, and that apparently, according to some, that's right, some, I'm not going to call names of who that some is, some, it is a sign of things to come. I just want to say that's what happened over the weekend.
And with this being the new month, June 1st, happening on Saturday, we must say this is trash talk cup match season.
Wow.
We're building our way to it. So for the likes of Sencha and Sherry, get ready. That's all we're saying.
Yeah, I mean, we have to deal with them for 2 months in that red and blue nonsense, don't we? Folks. If you didn't know, St. George's League team dominated Somerset's League team in 50 overs this weekend. Jonte Smith got a century. Yes. He is it. Remember, last year he was injured, so he's a reserve, if I'm not mistaken. All right. So this year,
I don't think he was injured there. He was just a reserve.
Can you let me stick with my story, please? Thank you.
Okay. All right.
I'm making excuses right here, bro. Like, help a brother out. Got to make it seem as long as it ain't a Somerset person on today to defend and talk against me, come on, ride with me. Let's be a little biased. Gee. All right. So we also had some other injuries last year. Throw one at me. Picnic pick.
I can't remember.
Picnic might have been injured too. So this year we will be ready. I just want to say St. George's will be ready, and this past weekend was a sign of things to come. I'm excited. It is cup match season. We've got Suzanne Ingham. She says go St. George's. So St. George's people start showing up, because usually in the comments, Somerset people just come out and they say all this ridiculousness and all that stuff. Awesome Monday, Jamal, Larry, and Maya. Awesome to be back. Mark Arthur T. Phillips says, it was not good to see you on the holiday, Mr. Marshall.
Yes, I did. I was actually in his camp for a bit. So for most of the day, tell you the truth. So yeah, it was good seeing him.
You went to the parade?
I went to the parade for the first time. Actually, I went in the first year back from the pandemic. Mm-hmm. But usually I'm not a parade goer. I must say, I don't know if I will be back.
Oh, well, okay. Suzanne Ingham says it's blue and blue, true, forever true. Yes, indeed. Angeline Butler says, I am some, Larry. That's right. It's a sign of things to come, Angeline. You let him know. Don't worry about this guy. Anyway, greetings, everyone, and thanks for making us part of your daily routine. A good one today as we discuss what items we'd like to see reduced in Bermuda. Keep this a good one, folks. The daily play is a who said it. Right. And you know the drill. If Larry don't get it, you will get a chance to be eligible for this week's prize. Don't forget to subscribe on our website. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. Well, let's jump right into today's question, folks. Today's question is very interesting. So the question is, what are your thoughts on retailers in the USA reducing prices? Now, let me just read from a couple of articles. So the Washington Post, folks, first says, grocers are finally lowering prices as consumers pull back. So retailers like Target, Walmart, and Aldi have begun rolling back costs on their food aisles and on other household staples, right? So just reading a bit of this story from the Washington Post, it says consumers have been grumbling about the soaring cost of groceries for nearly 2 years. Now, some of the biggest names in retail appear to be listening. In recent weeks, Target and Aldi have broadcast price cuts on thousands of items, while Walmart unveiled a new private label lineup of quality chef-inspired food, mostly in the $5 and under range. The shift comes as U.S. consumers have been signaling their discontent with more subdued spending, threatening retailers' bottom lines. Now, CNN reports Walgreens is joining other retailers in cutting prices across the board, from snacks to toiletries, and even Squishmallow. What Squishmallow is? Anyway, in an effort to lure back inflation, weary shoppers turned off by high prices. Prices are dropping immediately on more than 1,500 items online and at its stores, which include both name and store brands. Walgreens announced Wednesday in the past few weeks, competitors, including Target, Walmart, Amazon, slashed prices on thousands of household goods to rev up consumer spending. For example, an 80-count one-a-day gummy vitamins jar now costs $11.99, down from $13.49, and the price of a bag of sour cream and onion potato chips from Walgreens, owned nice brand, cost $1.99, down from $2.79. So you can see retailers are making some adjustments in the United States, and we should have reached out to some of our partners. Now, here's where the political stuff kicks in. The White House, which has been pressing retailers to lower prices, took credit for the rollbacks, right? You had posted on X, President Biden called on grocery chains making record profits to lower prices for consumers, and they're answering the call. Of course, the politicians want to jump in, especially in an election year. So the question of the morning is, what are your thoughts on retailers in the USA reducing prices? And honestly, it's my fault. I'd love to ask some of our partners. We've got People's, Linda's, BAC, and Medical House to see how they're responding. Bermuda's a very different animal. Let's just keep it real. Keep in mind, folks, we import almost everything. We don't have necessarily the same control, right? Or options. Like, let's use Target, for instance, Target Walmart. Target Walmart can order the same thing, but in bigger bulk, in greater volume, right? And so they can have the opportunity to probably order something for 20 cents and sell it for $10. Whereas Bermuda just doesn't have that volume. That 20 cents could be probably $5 now. And so the margin, they have to make that up. So what are your thoughts on the U.S. retailers in the USA reducing prices? But before we even get there, what items would you like to see retailers reduce prices on in Bermuda? Like, what's an item that comes to mind that you'd like to see reduced?
Groceries. Anyone pickle. Vegetables, Jamal. Kale.
Okay, produce. Well, I mean,
I think that's a bigger that's a different thing that we can kind of do, but I vegetables and produce is probably something that I would like to see reduced first the most.
So here's my response to that, as I've always said, right? You don't need a garden to grow your own produce. You just need a pot.
Yeah.
I would say if produce is something that you find that is expensive, and obviously Bermuda. To my understanding of produce is it's hard because grocers lose the most money on that because you're shipping it in, right? And it doesn't have, the dates don't range that long. They don't, their expiration date is much shorter,
Yeah,
right?
I agree.
That's a tough one. So I would encourage people, if you have a couple of pots and a patio or something or a porch, try to grow your own produce of the things that you really want to eat to combat the high prices that you might be dealing with at retailers. But again, I don't know the answers to that. I'm not a professional in that space, but that seems like probably the most logical way to go to make sure that you can afford to eat those things.
And to your point, while I do agree, because it's quite interesting. On Saturday, I want to say on Bermuda Real, Omar Deal penned an opinion piece that was shared, and he talked about sustainability and food and not relying on stuff like that. We've also had Malachi, I always forget his last name, from the OBA. Yes, he
Yes.
talked also about that, and quite
Mhm.
good conversations about going forward and cutting back and us not relying so much.
Mhm.
However, again, a different conversation. But I think when you talk about these things about cost cutting on what items, we have to look at wants versus necessity. I know for
Mhm.
myself, I kind of shifted when COVID came. The COVID crunch came, and I was fortunate enough where I wasn't able to lose the salary, but things were different. Supply and demand, so many different things that went on, and costs went up. So we just wanted to try and focus on needs versus wants.
Mhm.
So when I really look at my spending and what I want to say, I must say that it is heavily geared towards any grocery that is a staple in my house.
Well, it's interesting because again, I think you're going about it the right way. You're strategizing, right? You're strategizing. I think in the U.S. versus Bermuda, I know Linda's has the bulk store. You have quite a few bulk options. One of the suggestions was, for things like produce, you can't buy in bulk, right? But for the things you can buy in bulk, buy them in bulk, and then get the other stuff as needed because that will help keep prices low. From the Washington Post, that same article. It went on to say, Wyatt Williams of Iowa City says higher price forced him to make changes in 2022. The year inflation reached a 4-decade high of 9.1%. The 39-year-old writer and professor could no longer afford to make his weekly shopping trip to Whole Foods. Well, I mean, Whole Foods isn't cheap from the jump, right? But he said instead he found a creative alternative, driving 30 minutes away to a Mennonite something owned bulk grocery store located in rural Iowa. Bermudians don't. What's that?
We don't have that option.
Like, bingo. Bermudians don't have that option, right? So, like, especially a rural area where obviously things will be much less. Now, he says, my finances were wrecked and I was cutting into my savings. He said, something that's interesting that happens with food is when you have to regard it with scarcity, it changes the way you cook. So Target's rollback is partly a response to customers like Williams finding more economical alternatives for household staples. The challenge with Bermuda is where Bermudians going to find those alternatives because that's what would drive prices lower, right?
Yeah. And you know how we always say if the U.S. catches a cold, sorry, the U.S. sneezes, Bermuda catches a cold.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see this. I don't see us catching this cold, and I hope we do. But I remember when the economist Craig Simmons was on, and he spoke of the graph of how during COVID it was going up and down and up and down, and he said Bermuda's is just up, and it stayed there.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what's probably most concerning because how are we going to reduce these
Well,
costs?
if I'm not mistaken, the government did do something a couple years ago. They did give like duty free on like things like eggs or something. I don't have the list, but I'm pretty sure. Audience, let me know. But I'm pretty sure David Barrett, the premier, did have a press conference a couple years ago, like 2022, 2021, regarding tax breaks for retailers to bring in certain things so that they can keep the prices lower. I really, I hope my memory has served me correctly. But audience, what are your thoughts? on retailers in the US reducing prices, right? And what items would you like to see retailers reduce prices on in Bermuda? Like what stands out to you? Traveling Truddy says fresh fruit. So let me ask you something. Do people not go to vegetable carts in Bermuda anymore?
It's not really a difference in pricing.
It's not? No?
It can be. I don't know. It's still expensive. I leave the farm or the vegetable cart, and it still seems just as expensive if I go to the grocery store. Could be me. I don't track as much as I probably should. Also,
Okay. No, I mean, maybe the seeds and soil are expensive to import. I mean, could be, right? Could be that's what's keeping prices up at the vegetable carts. I know that's what we used to do growing up. Suzanne Ingham says healthy foods, they want us healthy. So she's hoping that those are the items that we can reduce. But be more specific, folks. Like I gave you some examples from CNN, the story on CNN of reduction in prices. You've got vitamins, the cost of one a day, 80 count, $11.99, now down from $13.49, which is a big difference if you're buying them at least 2 or 3 times a year. We've got potato chips, nice brand, down to $1.99 from 2 cents. I'm gonna be honest, I love a potato chip, right? These prices out of hand, I don't even buy them anymore. That's all it took for me.
but here's another thing that I would like to see, and I referenced when I was reading the article on money.com.
Mhm.
Uh, building clause, like if we can get certain things like block and other things that we have for building to come down,
Mhm.
I think that will be helpful for the island.
And that's where maybe we can reach out to our partners at BAC to see, things of that nature, like are they getting any breaks, right? To kind of reduce prices in Bermuda so that people can, because as we say all the time, the things that we need in life are, shelter and food, right?
Yeah.
Um, Shelter and food. All right, let's go back to the audience. What items would you like to see retailers reduce prices on in Bermuda? Anika DeShield says local produce, buy local produce. Suzanne Ingham says kale at the farmer's market is $5. Is that a lot or a little? What's that?
It's around the same at Linda's, right? I want to say. Yeah.
All right. Nicole Hassel, she said she's not specific. She says food, just food. Anika DeShield says, go back to home gardens and catch some of these chickens. Does anyone even know how to like prepare it a fresh chicken anymore? I don't know. I think that's part of the challenge. Anika DeShield says, get fruit from the islands instead of USA. I think the challenge with that is, we don't have any direct, shipping method or airlines coming from there, right? So they would have to go another route, and that creates its own thing, Nicole Hassel says, yes, I specifically look for vegetable carts every week.
Mhm.
Okay. Anika DeShield says produce from vegetable stands lasts longer. Okay. Suzanne Ingham says fruits and veggies to be specific. That's what she'd like to see prices reduced on. Charles H. Jeffers II says, I would love to see a price comparison between stores and vegetable carts. In the States, there are apps for that. But the reality is we know there are fewer people on island. Okay.
Okay.
I don't think we necessarily need an app for that. I mean, Bermuda's small enough where you can go to a vegetable cart and go to a grocery store. It's not that many grocery stores, right? You can go to Linda's Marketplace, Harrington Hundreds. What's the other one? Miles Supermart. You can go to those 5 stores and then go to a vegetable cart and just say, okay, these grapes are such and such a pound. And yeah, I mean, I know we're lazy now, but we can do that stuff. We don't need an app to tell us.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts, audience? What items would you like to see retailers reduce prices on in Bermuda? But also, how do you feel about seeing people in the U.S. get these reduced prices? Again, they're turning it political. Joe Biden and the White House are taking full credit for it. They're telling you, they've been telling retailers to do it. I do believe, and credit to him, I believe that the premier and the Bermuda government did do something a couple of years ago with this. They did make some items, relaxed on duty for some items, but I cannot remember off the top of my head what items they were. So, audience, you can help us out if you'd like. What items would you reduce? And what are your thoughts on retailers reducing price in the U.S.? And Nika the Shield says we can get direct shipping from sister islands if we really want. Again, at what cost? If we don't have any airlines or any ships right now, that's just going to add another cost. Like we've had Zach Munners come on from the from Lindo's. We're talking pallets you got to pay for. You're talking gas you got to pay for. You're talking like it's not like Bermuda's right next to these islands like they are. That's one of the challenges. We're very far from these islands, so we have to keep all that in context.
Yeah, and I think it's just like mentioned earlier, self-sustainability is where we really have to dig in more with, and to kind of, because if again we're just relying or shifting the reliance to people down the south rather than 1,000 miles west, it just kind of shifts.
You got something?
Yes, I do. Mark Arthur C. Phillips. Shopping in Bermuda is expensive. In a perfect world, Shipping to Bermuda is expensive. In a perfect world, the savings that stores receive should be passed on to the customer. I agree with that.
Well, that was the intent, I think, Mark. I think that was the intent of the premier when he did that. Thank you, Maya. It's the Customs Tariff Amendment number 3, the Act 2022. The bill reduces the rates of import duty to 0 for 21 categories of essential goods as follows: ground beef, chicken, fresh, chilled, or frozen turkey, fresh, chilled, or frozen butter, processed sliced cheese, cheddar cheese, green beans, fresh bananas, peppers, cooking oil, tuna, canned or dry packed pasta, bread, fresh or chilled, jam, peanut butter, tomato ketchup, and other tomato sauce, bath soap bars, laundry detergent, dish detergent, diapers for babies, sanitary towels, and so much more. So thank you for that, Maya. I knew it was something. It was 2022. Got to give them credit where it's due. So let's bring Maya in for Daily Hour News Break, but keep them coming, folks. Keep them coming. Let us know like what items you'd like to see reduced. It doesn't just have to be food. There are other things that are necessities. Baby formula, right? Women's products. It could be your vitamins. But what things do you think can be reduced? And how? I was trying not to mention them, but how can the government assist retailers in doing this? How can the government assist retailers in doing this? Let's figure it out. But it's an election year in the US. This stuff is happening. Let's see what we can do in Bermuda. I mean, it could be an election year in Bermuda too. We don't know.
Good morning. Good morning.
Greetings, MP. How are you?
Feeling pretty good this morning. Been a good Monday.
Okay. What would top your list of things to reduce prices on in Bermuda? Like, what do you need or, like that you would say, you know what? I would love to have this at a better price in Bermuda.
Well, there's a lot that we could say, right? But thinking long-term and more, sustainable practices, instead of things that maybe we can import, that we have to continuously import, if we could reduce prices on things that help us become more, just sustainable in ourselves, like things, I don't know, to help make garden work easier, or just anything that we can end up just using long term and not have to continuously have to import something along those lines. I don't know exactly what that'll be, but thinking more of how can we build ourselves without having to rely on importation all the time.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely correct. But I want to go back to what Larry said as well, is the example in, I think it was CNN, one of the articles I just read from, how Bermudians just don't have the option to go like to a rural area where, rural areas, you have people who are just growing their own stuff, right? You can pass 5 houses of farms, right? And they might just have some stuff for sale at the front of their house. We don't have that option, but we do have community. And there are some people in Bermuda who do have space to probably grow, a few things, and they might say, hey neighbor, I have 3 potatoes or some bananas for you, something like that. And it doesn't have to be an exact like sell, but maybe you say, all right, thanks neighbor, here's $20. Just give them a donate. I don't know how, I don't know the going rate for prices, but instead of paying that $20 for the or $30 for those items in a store, you might just give your neighbor $10 and they're appreciative, because if they don't need them, they'll just have to throw them away, right? Because produce goes bad. So I don't know. Maybe for me, there's a sense of community in this.
Yeah.
We need to bring back the barter systems. When I was like back home, like I know some of my neighbors, like they grow bananas. My other ones had chickens, so they had like eggs. I was able to grow a little bit of tomatoes. So it was like, like, hey, blah, 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 like give, get, whatever. And it was like, it worked quite smoothly. And I like miss having that. And like you said, even though we don't have like tons of gardens back to back, there are still like parish gardens, community gardens. Bermuda's love hosts the one up in I can't remember the parish anymore, but like they have their gardens. I know down in St. David's, my mama has her plot with people, a lot of her neighbors as well. So there are places, there are opportunities to do it. I guess most of it just comes with like having the time to do it, or even the want to do it, and knowing the need of how beneficial it is, and just passing that down to the next generation. Like just feeding that along.
Yeah,
it's not like it's not there.
And we don't even necessarily, if you're not able to, you don't have the green thumb or the space, you can still contribute if you do the packaging or the delivery. It's different things. But I think, the more and more as this goes on and this community garden or community partnerships kind of come up, I think we definitely have to go that way, because it's hard. And I just keep hearing a question: when is the tipping point? Have we reached the top, or will it keep going? Because I don't know how much more people can take.
One thing I would encourage people to do is check Facebook and see if you actually have a parish like community there, like a Smith's Parish, whatever, a Pembroke Parish group, neighborhood watch, so and so, whatever. Try to get to know your neighbors. Actually, I feel like we've lost that a lot. And so see what they're doing, or even what community events are going on. I mean, these are what your MPs should be promoting and trying to get you guys together to actually help communities grow. So if that's something you want to bring to the table, try it out. Find your community.
I think we got a long way to go. Good conversation, audience. But I think what Larry and Maya is saying is that they ain't gonna help us. We got to help ourselves. If they are not gonna help us, we have to help ourselves. So what you got today, MP?
Well, good morning, everyone. This is your Daily Hour News Break, brought to you by People's Pharmacy. As we talk about right now, just about like reducing funds, here's a story about kind of allocating funds to those people who need it. The government has introduced legislation to establish a framework to provide immediate financial support on a short-term basis for persons who qualify in the event of experiencing financial hardships due to unforeseen circumstances, they call, which will provide $1,500 per month.
As highlighted in the Throne speech, this initiative was part of the financial assistance reform and would assist households requiring immediate assistance with expenses for a short period due to sudden hardships, such as involuntary job loss or a death in the family. Research shows that individuals and households who find themselves in these circumstances are less resilient because they cannot meet their basic human needs.
Now, this bill is entitled the Financial Assistance Short-Term Relief Benefit Act of 2024, and it does come with different criteria that people need to actually meet it in order to get the funds. And the minister actually listed out a couple of them. So here's a short video just showing what she's listing.
The benefit is a legislated $1,500 per month. Duration: recipients can receive the benefit for up to 3 months in a financial year. Process: every application for the short-term benefit must be made in writing on an approved form submitted digitally or in person to the director with documented proof of eligibility and evidence of sudden financial hardship. Conditions: the benefit recipients must comply with specified conditions in the bill, some of which include notifications to the director of any financial change in one's circumstance while receiving the relief benefit. Mr. Speaker, the short-term relief benefit payment is payable to individuals, not to households. Individuals must apply and then prove they are experiencing the sudden hardship and the impact it may have on their household.
Interesting. I mean, it's twofold, because in one breath you're like, okay, the government's doing something. In another breath, if they were governing better, maybe they wouldn't need to provide people with relief. You got what I'm saying? I'm not trying to be that person, but yeah, the reality is that people should not be in that situation where they need that relief.
Yeah, and also I like to see at the end of the day, if people need that emergency relief and the government's there for it, okay. But I always wonder about people who look to take advantage of the system, and I hope that it's properly regulated on that point side.
She did go on by saying, like, for example, if a person has been made redundant from their job or is a victim of domestic violence, the individual unemployed would need proof from their former employer, while the victim of domestic violence would need proof from either helping agencies such as the Center Against Abuse or a police report. So there are, like you said, Marshall, there's going to be criteria put on back of these people who need.
Okay.
Now, furthermore, the newly refitted 700-passenger ferry Bermudian returns to Bermuda last week from Massachusetts. Now, a little bit about this. In August of 2022, the Department of Marine and Port Services announced that the Bermudian, built in 1988 and the oldest vessel in the fleet, would undergo extensive upgrades to its main machinery and operating plant. Now, the Minister of Transport, the Honorable Wayne Ferbert, said, quote, "We are pleased to have the Bermudian back in local waters and look forward to her serving the very popular Blue Route from Dockyard to Hamilton. The larger vessel will be able to service the need of our residents and cruise visitors during this very busy season." So the cost to refit the ferry was $4.5 million, but that's compared to the $12 to $15 million required for a new build. Following required safety checks, the vessel is expected to resume service on the Blue Route operating between Dockyard and Hamilton on Monday, June the 10th.
I don't remember that ferry.
When the news came across my emails, I didn't remember it either, Jamal. I was like, I definitely forgot that one had to go away to get, service and be brought back. But I think it's more historical means, because they said, like, being that it is the oldest vessel and, wanting it to keep it afloat.
Well, I hope it stays afloat.
It's definitely going to have to go through some safety procedures, it says, but once those are all checked off and cleared, it'll be back on the waters.
Okay.
Right.
All right. So meanwhile, there's about 3,500 people in Bermuda who are actually living with a disability. And recently, the government welcomed the National Registrar for Persons with Disabilities. You will recall that I reported it here on the show. And the minister also created the application, which again was another thing that I showed here, that people can download the app now to register and be more in tuned on their mobile device. Well, today, a total of 71 persons have actually downloaded that app. And Minister Tanae Ferbert has a little bit more of the updates that have come to it.
With any new initiative, there are always areas of improvement observed throughout the rollout phase. As such, since the launch of the Disability Register app, upgrades have been made to the platform to improve the performance and optimization of the mobile application. As an example of the Disability Register's app's functions and capabilities, an inclusive text-to-speech feature translates written text on the app to voice so that the words can be heard by individuals with visual impairments. Mr. Speaker, in August of this year, the Office of Aging and Disability Services will host another incentive-based registration drive to give persons with disabilities and or their families the opportunity to register.
So you'll be hearing a lot more about how to download it, and hopefully more information, some information that comes out of it that actually benefit the community.
Okay, cool.
Meanwhile, Bermuda's airlift capacity is predicted to increase for 2024. I think we've heard these type of news before about air traveling being something that's going to ramp up on the island. But the minister actually pointed out some achievements that have already been made that will continue, and the increasing trend of the airlifts coming into Bermuda. So let's hear what he has to say.
Pleased to report that developments in our airlift services that have enhanced our connectivity. American Airlines resumed its daily non-service flight to Miami on November the 5th and extending its year-round connectivity from Miami to Bermuda. JetBlue's year-round service to Boston has markedly improved our connectivity and heightened local passenger satisfaction, particularly for medical travel. Bermuda has established connection with 7 major markets: Boston, Westchester, New York, Baltimore, Fort Lauderdale, Orlando, Toronto, Halifax, representing a noteworthy achievement in our expansion efforts to provide increased travel options. Mr. Speaker, we are pleased to announce, I'm sure you've heard about it, that United Airlines will be flying year-round from Newark to Bermuda, This is the first time since 2016.
You know, I was thinking about this yesterday, and I'm just like, the BTA is going to have a very easy job, and I just hope that they're able to deliver. There ain't many hotel beds left in Bermuda, so if you can't keep them full, the criticism is going to be just. You've got the airlines right now. I don't know about you, audience. We can do a poll right now. You notice they gave you that picture. You know, my Aunt Teo shared that little video picture about those workers up from Mount Southampton. Remember that hype where they were giving away furniture? Anybody seeing any work going on up there lately? Anybody know if true ground's being broken? I tell you what.
Take a drive-by, you know.
A general election was called. You see the work all in the news. That hotel, Bermuda's success in tourism is dependent on that. So you could tell me this airline's year-round, that airline's year-round. I tell you what, show me the numbers. Show me the actual data that these airlines are bringing more people to Bermuda, and I'll believe something. Outside of that, everybody I see is coming on a cruise boat.
Wow. Yes.
One more thing. Sorry, can't forget this.
Okay.
Are there any guarantees from the government for these airlines? Those are the questions that need to be asked. Are there any guarantees from the government? Audience, they'll be on your doorstep again soon. You better ask them.
Explain what the guarantees are, Jamal.
Folks, guaranteed. Thank you, Larry. Didn't think anyone cared.
Quiet on this one.
So guarantees are pretty much, you know, there's airlines that say they're not coming because they're going to send that flight to Dominican Republic or Puerto Rico or Mexico because there's people on them. The guarantees, what they do is pay for empty seats. If they can't get people to Bermuda on those flights, well, they're cool. They're all right. Airlines will say, okay, we'll come year round now because we're going to make us. Ask your government. Ask your MP. Ask them. Do any of these airlines, do any of them receiving guarantees? And then if they say yes, ask them what those guarantees are, because we should not be paying for empty seats when we have people responsible for getting people in them. I rest my case, Yana.
I'll say it.
Oh, moving on to our sports-related news for this morning. All eyes are actually on the Bermuda senior men's national football team as they were drawn in Group A for the 2024 FIFA World Cup qualifiers. Let's hear some more. Their first qualifying match is against Antigua and Barbuda on June the 5th, but what most Bermuda football fans are waiting for is their second World Qualifier match against Honduras, which will be played at home in Bermuda on June the 9th. Each team will play every other team in their group once, playing 4 matches, 2 at home and 2 away. After completing the second round, the group winners and runners-up, 12 teams, will progress to the final round.
Dang, we got Honduras. Honduras ain't no pushovers. How'd we get them so early?
Well, that's what when you get pulled into to the groups. This is what kind of happens.
You also said that it's the group runner or the group winners and the runners up, correct? So we just have to. How much is in the group? Just 3?
That'll be about 12 teams that will progress to the final round.
Okay.
So yeah, and even though yes, Honduras is pretty far up when it comes to Bermuda on the rankings, but as always, you never really know in situations. Anything could really happen in these type of games like football. It's
we got this.
Yeah.
And I think Bermuda's at a good position where we have the experience still hanging around that is pretty solid, and then we have some young guys that's making some noise over in the UK. And we just hope that it could translate, because at the end of the day, sometimes Bermudians have made their move from solid international performances, and we need someone to come up and snatch it. You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, you never know.
You never know, honestly. So that game, well, the one that's going to be at home that I'm pretty sure a lot of people want to get out to, you can get tickets off of G-Pass, but it's going to be Sunday, June the 9th at 8 p.m. at the stadium. So anyone who's interested, want to go support and, cheer on our team, that's the day you got to be there.
Let's do it, folks.
Indeed. And also tomorrow, there's going to actually be a Bermuda All-Star High School game. Sorry. Tomorrow, there's going to be a basketball game. There's going to be the Bermuda High School Girls All-Star team versus the Bermuda Women's Basketball team. That's going to happen. So if you are interested also in that, you go out and support. It's going to be at Summersfield Academy. It is free entry, again, tomorrow, Tuesday. So it's going to be at 6:15 p.m. at Summersfield Academy. So you can definitely go support, watch them, see how that league develops, as it is still relatively new. And also, if you're someone who's interested and thinks that they actually want to be a part of the women's basketball team, it's a good chance for you to go see what they got and, learn about how you can support and be a part of the team.
Excellent. More options.
Good
Like
stuff.
Definitely.
How's the weather looking?
Weather today is looking pretty good. Really sunny, generally going to be sunny throughout the entire day. It might be at times with some winds and some slight, breezes, but it's going to be 77 degrees Fahrenheit. So you're looking at a pretty beautiful day, hopefully.
All righty. What we got for days of the year, Larry?
Today is World Bicycle Day. The bicycle is one of the most beneficial inventions for your personal health and the health of the environment. Get out and get some sustainable exercise.
You guys have bicycles? Like, do you ride?
I can get access to one. I think my wife has one, but
You think?
somewhere. Yeah, I don't know.
Ain't nobody rode it in a while then.
Yeah, I doubt it. I actually prefer the spinner.
Indoors,
Like
okay.
that, but being out, especially there's road bicycles. I didn't like being clipped in on the road, so I didn't like that. But
And then, I mean, Bermuda's
leisure bike, Jamal.
What's that?
A leisure ride. That's what we're looking for.
Yeah. I mean, Bermuda's tough right now with even just for a leisure ride, you don't know what pothole you might fall into.
There's no bike lanes anywhere. I wouldn't want to ride my bike in Bermuda anyhow.
Exactly. There aren't any bike lanes. I got a knock joke for you guys though.
Let's have it.
Yeah.
Oh my, let's get on board. It's Monday.
All right. You're gonna get this one. This is easy, guys. All right, ready?
Not already laughing.
All right. Knock.
Who's there?
Who's there?
Spell.
Spell who?
Oh, who?
Okay. W-H-O.
Not Maya mouth in it.
Hey, that one got
It
me.
was so obvious, what?
That one got me. You know what? She thought about it. She didn't just spell. She thought about it. But anyway, at least we know Maya can spell, folks. That's what that was. All right. Maya, you see it tomorrow?
Mm-hmm.
She ain't happy with me, folks.
Just can get off and then start laughing.
All right. Don't go anywhere. We'll come back, continue the conversation. Stick with us. All right. We'll be back in 2 minutes, 27 seconds.
Let's face it, life can be a little wild, but shopping doesn't have to be. I choose People's, so that whether it's a prescription that needs to be filled, a toy for my little terror, or a gift for a new addition to the family, we'll see about that. Everything's available in one convenient location. Some call it People's, I call it my one-stop shop in the city. People's, we're here for you.
Welcome to the new bulk store, Lindo's Next Level. Wake up in the morning with enough coffee to keep you running throughout the entire day. Your pet at home deserves the best. Stock up on dog food to keep your puppy happy. Need a quick tasty lunch at home? Your chicken nuggets will be jumping right out of the freezer. What's a movie night without popcorn? You can never have too much. Lindo's Next Level. Why go anyplace else?
It took 14 days to build your business plan. 6 months to build the courage to leave your day job. 3 weeks to find the perfect location. It took 10 days to outfit your space just right. And 1 day before your first client walked in the door. All totaled, it took you a full year to get your business operational. And this is just the beginning. To the entrepreneurs, the risk takers, the people that shape our economic community, we salute you and are here for you every step of the way. BEDC, providing knowledgeable, progressive, professional, and innovative support to Bermuda businesses.
Summer is almost here. Dive into the season with dog floats and dog pools. Enjoy 20% off West Paul's dog floating toys and shop our life jackets for safety in the water this summer. Get all your summer needs before the holidays and events begin. Don't forget to stock up on poo bags and check out Dicky Bags, the poo bag holder that locks in the smell until you can dispose of it. Remember, even dogs need sunblock, so visit Noah's Ark today, Bermuda's most trusted animal supply store for all your summer essentials, and ask us about our rewards program.
Alrighty, welcome back to the Big Show. Larry Marshall Jr., myself, Jamel Hartman. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, Medicals, Lindos, and People's Pharmacy. Folks, if you haven't already, please give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. Make sure you share this conversation with your friends, your family, your colleagues. We want to make sure that people have access to understanding that in our big sister, big brother country of the United States of America, much bigger, older, and I won't say necessarily wiser, but prices are being reduced for retail. How can we in Bermuda combat this? We can't necessarily just expect retailers to lower prices because there are other things at play. Some of them have a better volume. Well, most of them have better volume, so they're able to order things at reduced rates. This may be an opportunity, as Malachi Troy says, to we need to remove the white picket fence and use our yards to produce our own food. I'm just going to say, I think the answer to our issues is very different from the U.S. Maybe I'd like us to get out of the mindset that we need to have farm-like land to grow our own food. You need pots, patience. Yeah. Go on YouTube and learn, right? A little sun, little water. But I think that's the way for us to address a lot of this. So again, back to the question of the morning, what are your thoughts on retailers in the USA reducing prices? And what items would you like to see reduced in Bermuda? What items would you like to see reduced in Bermuda? WKD Lama said, if the government can coordinate with grocery stores and buy bulk items from the US retailers that they can import duty-free and sell for a fixed price. Samantha Tolbert Bean, that's a lot, so I'll leave it on the side. Foods parents need for children's cereals, milk, eggs, bread, fruits, and vegetables. Stores don't even reduce the prices over the days. E.g. bananas. Why are they selling bananas for X amount per pound when they look like they need to be thrown out? Here, you can buy 5 bananas for, well, is she in the UK? She's saying pounds, 80 cents. Yeah, they've been sitting for a few days. I think she's in the UK. Well, here's the thing with that. First off, children don't need cereal. That's probably the most toxic food that you can give a child. Let's just keep it real. I can agree with produce. Yeah, we definitely need produce. But I think we need and I say this respectfully, not just to Miss Tolbert Bean, but to all of us. I think all of us probably need to educate ourselves on, food production, because I'll just keep going back to what Malachi said. We need to be producing our own food. I don't do it currently, right? So I'm not saying this as if I'm doing it. That's why I said we need to produce our own food.
Yeah, and to piggyback on that, during the pandemic, my wife decided to have a little small plot that I had to dig out and do all the manual labor and stuff, and I was like, nobody. And if I'm honest, I really wasn't in it. My daddy started his garden, when he was young, tried to show me, not interested. I think the two things that as adults I wish I would have took interest in was golf and gardening, right? But nonetheless, when the fruits of the labor paid off, I was like, hey, yeah, this is different, and it made a difference. I will not lie, it made a difference being able to go out and pick and do stuff, and we kind of fell off. And I'm saying, okay, we got to be ready for this fall season now, because you just see a difference. And I like this idea, and it's so. It was good to see from two different, and I'm gonna just say it, and we always go there, but it is what it is. Young black men coming and pushing this idea, and I'm saying yes, solution focused things, and it's something that I wish that we would heard more of. So I'm definitely in with this community gardening type of situation, because we gotta do it. They're not gonna do it for us, Jamal, as you said.
Yeah. No, I agree with what you said. Renee Simmons says if non-perishable items were imported in bulk and sold at reduced prices, then retailers would be able to purchase more produce as essentials. Okay. Point. I'm just help me understand in bulk. Are you saying all the stores order together? Help me understand that a bit more on that. Anika De Shield says agreed on this on the cereal. However, cereal in the UK is probably more healthy, no pesticides and no GMO. Um, it's been shown that the different ingredients in foods in the US and UK are very yeah, that has been shown. But again, audience, what items would you like to see? What would you like to see reduced? Like if there's one thing that you have to purchase, like vitamins, it could be vitamins, right? You saw the price of one a days at Walgreens. It could be vitamins. What's something that you can't grow at home that you might need?
Yep.
Is women's products.
You made something mentioned something earlier, and you talked about baby formula. And at one point, baby formula, I know for my nieces, it was at a point where people was running out of baby formula. So that's something I think we needs to be on the list because it's a necessity. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Again, there's a lot of items. I mean, we're talking retailers. Retail isn't just groceries, right? There are other things you may need. Medications. Is it some sort of formula for adults? Diapers. What would you like to see reduce prices on in Bermuda? What is something that you're like, you know what? We need that. Is it toothpaste?
Yeah.
Let us know. I mean, to be honest, I learned something from Dr. David Chapman, and he gave some great advice. He wrote a book some years ago, but he was speaking to it. And he said that, and I've been guilty of it because I purchase a lot of fruit. I get fruit weekly. That's the one thing I get weekly because, again, it perishes fast, right? But I realized that I never finish all of my fruit. So I reduced what I was getting. I'm not going to get 3 different kind of berries or 3 different kinds of melons. I'm going to get 2 different kind of melons and 2 different kind of berries rather than because I don't finish them with my smoothies or just general snacks.
Yeah. And if we're honest, and everyone in the household, if we can reduce the amount of food that we throw out and waste every year, that is probably one of that's right up there with cost saving things that we want from the retailers. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and exactly. Reducing food waste will go a long way, and that's something that Dr. David Chapman speaks of, like reducing food waste. Like avocados, we know how quickly they go bad, right?
Yeah.
So why got a bag of avocados if it's just you? If you're single, right? Now, if you have a household of 4, maybe it makes sense. But those are the kind of things, the changes that I had to make in terms of, keeping costs low. Just think of food waste reduction. Malachi Troy says urban gardening is what we need to adapt. Speak to it. What is urban gardening for those who may not know? Anika De Shield says the wholesalers do import bulk products to distribute to local grocers. Well, yeah, that's what Butterfield and Vallis and
PGA
and even Dunkless. That's what they all do. Import exports. Renee Simmons says if there was a regulation that all groceries could import non-perishables at lower cost in bulk and sold at reduced prices. Okay, got you. And that's to your comment earlier. All right. I think we came up with some good stuff this morning, audience. I think at the end of the day, it's on us. I just don't think we can really get at local retailers because at the end of the day, they don't have the same situation as Targets and Walmarts and Walgreens. We have to understand that these businesses, they're not charities. They're there to make a profit, right? They're there to create jobs in industry, right? And if they're only breaking even, well, what's the point of being in business?
Yeah.
Right.
Lastly, I'm proud of our audience because when we talk about things like that, I often read, well, what doors get cut? Where do we get big discounts? And we get big discounts on the things that we don't need. And no one has brought that up. Do you know what I mean? The the televisions, the cell phones. Oh, it's Black Friday. Let's get this and that. And it's almost like, but we don't need a Black Friday sale on that, but that's often given. So I think a lot of us are on that same mindset of no, we're talking about what we really need as a community and how it's beneficial for us.
Indeed. That's true. That is very true. That Black Friday ain't no grocery Black Friday is, folks. All right, let's take our final break. Folks, again, if you appreciated today's conversation, do us a favor. Give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. Please share the conversation with your friends, your family, your colleagues. And if you'd like those links of where you can find these stories about, reduced prices in various U.S. retailers, we can put them up on our social media. I think Maya may have put them up on our Instagram already, so you can check them out there. We're going to take our final break. We'll be back after this quick break, 55 seconds to wrap it up, and Daily Playtime. Stick with us.
Take a look at our workbook for construction workers and tradesmen. Durable, stretchable in all the right places and plenty of options for tools and accessories. Paired with our wide range of tough and comfortable footwear, you can't go wrong. As you can see, Medical House really is a one-stop shop for everybody. We can't wait to see you.
See it all at our new expanded location on Bakery Lane.
All righty, welcome back to the big show. Thanks again to the BAC group of companies, Medical House, Lindos, and People's Pharmacy for ensuring that we're able to have these conversations with you on a regular basis. Again, folks, if you appreciated today's discussion, please give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. Make sure you share the conversation with your friends, your family, your colleagues. It is time for the Daily Play, brought to you by Bermuda Trivia, now available at stores throughout Bermuda. Follow Bermuda Trivia on Facebook, Instagram, X, and TikTok to find out why it's Bermuda's favorite trivia game. All right, it's a Who Said It. Larry, are you ready?
Yes, sir.
All right. This is from a track and field athlete, the first American to win 3 gold medals at a single Olympics. All right. Quote,
I already know now.
My doctor told me I would never walk again. My mother told me I would. I believe my mother. End quote. Who said it, Larry?
Yes, yes. Yes, yes. First. Female, Wilma.
What's that?
Wilma Rudolph.
It was Wilma Rudolph. Yes, it was Wilma Rudolph. She was the first American to win 3 gold medals in a single Olympics. Yeah, Wilma Rudolph.
Which year was that?
Oh, it doesn't say. Doesn't say.
Jesse Owens is 36. He won the long jump. He just okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So no one got the answer today. Larry got it. He beat you guys. But I just want to go back to Malachi Simon's comment about urban gardening. He said urban gardening is used in every area you can to produce food, walls, pots, tires, bottles. It involves recycling and repurposing. He said plant fruit trees, not non-edible hedges. Most trees, like 50 years, so future generations will get to harvest from them. So,
okay.
Yeah. All right. So let's wrap it up. Your final thoughts on today's discussion, Larry. What's your thoughts?
But I must say, it's definitely a pleasing thing to see that our neighbors in the U.S. are starting to see some relief, and we're hopeful that it gets passed on to us and our retailers can start to see some relief, and it just kind of eases the pressure on everyone. Mm-hmm. Having said that, I think it gives us another opportunity, which we did this morning, to speak to the sustainability and the community aspect of it, and hopefully we can just continue to build on that because, like I said, the tipping point's got to be soon.
Yeah. I think conversations like this are interesting. I think we have quite a few people in the community who are trying to show people and teach people how to grow their own food. I think growing our own food is going to be our way out. There are certain things that we're going to need from retailers, vitamins. There are going to be things that we're going to have to go to them to support different medications that we may need. But for the most part, wherever we can do things on our own, we need to find a way to do just that. Grow our own food, catch our own food. You know, someone said about earlier about having chickens. Do we even raise children to know how to do that anymore? You know, fishing. Do people even know how to clean a fish or fillet a fish anymore if that's their thing? So I think we have to, I don't like to say this, but in some aspects, we may have to get back to basics and really and truly build our community. Build our community. All right, you got any daily inspiration for us?
I do. And this is from Beyonce. I don't like to gamble, but if there's one thing I'm willing to bet on, it's myself.
There you go.
Bet on yourself for the week, folks.
Bet on yourself. All right, don't forget to subscribe on our website. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. Thanks again to our partners, the BAC Group of Companies, Medicals, Lindos, and People's Pharmacy for ensuring that we can have these conversations with you on a regular basis. Folks, as always, we appreciate you. We love you. And we thank you for making us part of your daily routine. If all goes well, we'll be back to do this again with you tomorrow. He's Larry Marshall Jr. I am Jamal Hartman. Please do make it a safe and a great day. We are is out. Peace.